mean one and only thing, that this is Chipchat. Welcome to Chipchat. I'm Chip. Who are you, Tez?
You just told him, buddy.
I got it already.
Yay!
I'm back, baby. Happy Passover.
Happy Passover, yeah.
You'll notice, so one of the nice things for Jewish kids is the explosion in seltzers over the recent few years has meant that we have a lot more options during this week.
Yeah.
You know, we had like cider and then like mixing margaritas, and that's a lot of effort.
It's a lot of effort.
But the good folks here at Cutwater.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah, it's Anheuser-Busch too.
Yeah.
They've got this great tequila ranch water stuff, which I actually drink on not Passover. I love this stuff. It's high quality.
I enjoy Cutwater.
Yeah. But the ranch waters in particular, very delicious. They come in a variety pack. Big problem with the packaging, though. The box that they come in,
I do see
it falls apart, the bottom of it, because it's not glued. It's just sort of fitted. And if it gets a little damp, it falls out. And then there's no easy way to open it. Okay. So if you're listening, Cutwater, I know I've already tweeted this at you several times. They even emailed me. They're like, so what would you do? I was like, put it in one of the million other ways of packing. Yeah. Put it in a regular, the clip top six packs.
Exactly. Simple.
What are you doing, guys? We've invented better stuff. I personally didn't invent it, but I'll take
carbon footprint.
Yeah. Well, cardboard.
No, that's true.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, special edition.
It's never not.
This is
one day. I hope I'm here.
It's like a regular,
like we do other, like this local happy story about, you know.
I have a local happy story.
You do, yeah, but I mean, like, there's always some like, unprecedented times. Is that even? Can I say that every day?
Yes.
Does that remove?
Does it kind of wash out?
It?
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm very confused on how to feel about some of these things. Like if I'm outraged about them every day, at a certain point, I can't be outraged forever. So do I pick and choose what days I'm outraged?
You weren't here for the first 2 years of the Trump administration when it was just like endlessly. It was, I don't know.
I mean, from inauguration day, whatever, like. I don't know.
It's like John Oliver often says. He's like, you know, if it was something, this show would be called like Happy Puppies or whatever, right. But it's not. It's called Sad British Guy Makes You Sadder. Like, that's okay. So what's the name of our show? Save the Republic every week? We're trying.
Inform.
Doing our best. So anyway, Arizona.
Sorry, I'm watching Roger Goodell come out. This is a terrible look.
This is a terrible look.
The
draft is on. Don't watch it. It will burn your eyes.
Yeah, he has the open. Is it in Miami?
No, it's in Detroit.
Okay. If Roger Goodell, for the people who are just listening and who can't see our TV, he's out there about to announce a pick, I assume, for the Broncos, and he has a blue shirt that is buttoned down. I think 2 buttons too many.
He's got like a lot of chest showing.
Yeah, it's kind of like I'm trying to be like it's cash, but
he's still wearing a suit. And he's still commissioner of the NFL.
Yeah.
Also, you're in Detroit. It's cold there.
Okay, I'm sorry. It was very jarring when I said, that's not Roger Goodell coming out looking like
Obama
that.
can pull it off. So now everybody wants to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Obama looks like a tech bro.
But he did the last picture I saw.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, back to our job here.
Sorry.
Arizona needed like all the spotlight this week. They were like 4 stories about Arizona. We picked the 3 best. The Trump trials are going nuts. We didn't even incorporate it today, but there was the Supreme Court stuff. I listened to a little bit of that. Yes, yeah, we're probably going to get a delay, but
it's not the most. It's not going to be heard before the election.
Ginny's husband somehow was there. Like somehow my neighbor. It was an altogether weird thing to listen to and to read in real time. But we're not going to talk about that. Yeah. Because we don't have time for that. There's too much other shit going on.
Yeah. Next week.
So next week. That's next week. Mike Johnson did the right things and the wrong things somehow all at once.
I don't know what Twilight world. Everything I understood obviously was thrown out in 2016. But now it's kind of like, we're just the it's like pick your own story on how this is gonna go.
Yeah, choose your own adventure, Republicans. But there was a really good piece in the Post this week that sort of explains some of this. When we get to that section, I'll try to remember some of the things and tell you about it. So anyway, Tory Bullshit continues at its most Tory Bullshit level. You could, right there. It's right on your shirt.
I've been thinking for a long time, is this like a tourism play or propaganda? I don't know.
It's both.
I guess it's both, right? Yeah.
Whew. And
no, they're out here giving ideas for how we deal with our migrant
except
population.
that Sunak's going to get trounced in the next election.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, deal. So this is a flailing attempt. So we'll get to that. Bushweed makes a comeback.
Oh man,
that was a bad joke.
The dark ages.
I got that.
Funny. That's the dark ages.
Hey, some of us had to fight our way through that.
Yeah, that's
that brick stuff.
That cartel brick.
Hey,
that shit
did the job, man.
It's terrible.
When we're telling those stories in the refugee camps,
I'm gonna be like, hey, I came a little bit.
You kids don't know what it's like to pick stems out of your brick.
Exactly.
You don't even know.
Oh,
it was half seeds.
Oh my God!
And they grew.
Lord, it's just
if you threw them in the same spot off your porch, you'd end up with some plants, and you have to scatter them around.
Lord.
Let the lawnmower handle it. Anyway, gonna be a great show.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be wild.
Except after the election.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
After the election. This is the wildest shit you could possibly imagine. Okay, so all that being said, do you have a word?
Usually I should think more about this.
He's thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking a little bit. I didn't have. Usually I try to prepare on the way up and have a word. I read the script today.
Oh my God! And
I was.
Who are you? And what have you done with Tess?
I was here 5 minutes before the show started.
Yeah, coming in hotter.
Nothing. Yeah, just sat down and had some conversation before.
Well, you were already here the last time.
We
just pretended you were.
Yeah, exactly.
For dramatic effect.
I have a word.
Okay, I've got my word. Yeah. So sit back, grab some
socialism.
It's Derby time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's poppin', y'all?
All right. So this week, instead of a list time, we've got a special edition here. It's called Space Time.
Pew, pew.
Yeah. Chip Chat in space.
I had to click on this stupid story to double check to make sure MSNBC it was
not a joke.
I legit had to click on. I saw the.
So when the first thing that happened was I was sent an image of the thing that we're about to talk about as filed.
Okay.
And I know what congressional filings look like. Right. When something goes to markup and it's got a particular font. It sort of looks like it was done on a typewriter.
Yes, they all look like a typewriter.
It's got the lines.
Typewriter font.
It looks a little like a court document. But anyway, I knew, and I was like, it can't be real. And then I checked, and it is real. I'm just going to read this to you. This is an actual news story in reference to something that happened in Congress just this week, and none of this is made up. As part of her opposition to House Speaker Mike Johnson's foreign aid package, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene introduced a slew of amendments to the bills Wednesday. So far, so good.
Regular.
Including one that directs funding for the, quote, development of a space laser technology on the southwest border, end quote.
This is out of Star Wars, the image or something you've made up. AI has made this image.
Yeah.
What is this?
It looks like the space station bouncing something off of a telecom satellite. It's a pink laser, too.
Exactly.
I don't know if Marge would be into a pink laser. It seems a little too feminine for her. But anyway, so, Marge is sort of famous because she says that my people have space lasers.
And now has flipped this.
That we use to control the weather or whatever. And every time she says something ludicrous or pro-Nazi or whatever, reporters love to ask her, what's your position on Jewish space lasers? Because it's a very dumb thing that she said. And so it's an easy kind of way to take her down a peg.
Right.
And somehow she's decided, well, if they're going to do this, I may as well make hay of it. So she filed this amendment. Now, to be fair, it was found not to be in order and was nowhere near the actual bill. It will never get attached to anything. But it's just a performance, which is the way she treats her job in Congress, is not to represent her district at all, but it's to perform these stupid little things.
As a decent majority of
it's quite a lot of the Republican majority mostly seems to be there for, some bad community theater project or whatever they're working on. So, yuck. It's bad. Green also suggested that Israel already has space laser technology. Of course she did. Quote, I've previously voted to fund space lasers for Israel's defense.
That's a flip. That's a crazy flip.
America needs to take our national security seriously and deserves the same type of defense for our border that Israel has and proudly uses. Israel does not have space lasers. They have an Iron Dome, which uses missiles to shoot other missiles down, but it is not lasers.
Yeah, I feel confident in saying this, that there are no space lasers.
That's right.
I feel all right. I'm very confident. No space lasers that have been developed by Homo sapiens. Okay,
that's a fair way.
I think it's a fair way. I don't know out there if people got space lasers, what's going on, but Homo sapiens here on Earth, where our Jewish brothers and sisters live, along with the rest of us, there are no space lasers.
So,
it's insane.
In the late 90s and early 2000s, there was this, I think this thing is maybe still flying, but anyway, there was this idea that maybe you could shoot something down with a laser.
Right.
By basically, if you had a powerful enough laser and you pointed it at, say, the nose of the incoming cruise missile, you could heat it up so much that it would explode.
Right, okay.
So to test this, right, NASA and the Defense Department got a 747, a jumbo jet. That's how big this thing is. Because in order to have enough energy for this to work, you need a lot of fucking energy, right? And pack into a jumbo jet, a giant laser, and cut a door in the side of the jumbo jet where it fires out of. And they did test this, and it does work. But it's not very fast because it's a giant jumbo jet. You have to know what you're shooting at in advance. It was all planned in drone targets or whatever. And again, it takes an incredible amount of energy. You can't huck something the size of a jumbo jet into space. There's no rocket big enough to move anything that big into orbit.
Get these other rockets are trying to get off the ground.
We can barely get these little tin cans up into space. There's not. The space station wasn't all built at once and then thrown up there.
Yeah, exactly. They built it on
20 years
and shot
individual pieces the size of a Volkswagen. And that's about the size of a thing you can throw into space. So it is ludicrous on its face, but it's also I don't know, it's a little bit of political acumen for her, right? She flipped the story anyway.
She did flip the story. Now we're defending Israel. We
have to explain how they don't have space lasers.
Yo, I don't have many words for that lady.
She doesn't have many words, so it's probably fine.
God.
There's a series of grunts and violent activities.
Look, you know what?
She has kids, right?
Yeah, I think she has 2 kids at least.
How did she manage that? Brian, were you involved? No, hell no.
You know what this is? This is CrossFit. I'm sorry.
That's how she got her money.
Yeah, this is CrossFit gyms. And it's, it's
a cult.
Yeah, I don't have a really good person out here that is repping the CrossFit flag. I'm not saying all of you guys are like this. I'm just saying this is kind of,
Yeah.
If
there was a radio for the look I'm giving, it's like,
yeah. I don't know.
All right, moving on. Also in space. So NASA, you may remember that actually, because I was quite excited about this, that NASA tested this idea out of flying around on other planets. And the way that they tested this was when they sent Perseverance, the rover, the most recent rover to Mars, nicknamed Percy, of course. We all call him Percy. They sent along a little helicopter called Ingenuity. Okay, Ginny for short, not the bad one.
The bad one, oh, terrible name.
Okay, well, so the plan was for Ingenuity to fly 3 times. That's how much battery they figured that this thing was going to have. And, flying on a planet like Mars or some other place where the atmosphere is very thin is really difficult. Right? Because the way you generate lift is you got to move something like a wing through the air, and it has to generate higher pressure on the bottom of it than on the lower and then on the top, and that makes lift, right? So in an airplane, of course, it's a fixed wing, and in a helicopter, it's a rotating wing, right? Rotor wing, and so it's spinning. So like a regular helicopter on Earth spins its blades, 10,000 RPM or something like that. That's still pretty fast, but maybe it's not quite that fast. But the Ingenuity had to go 30,000 RPM.
Insane.
30,000 revolutions per minute. It's so fast that they had to make new bearings and stuff for it, because you think like anything moving that fast would sort of rip itself to pieces. Okay, so they were going to be like, well, we're going to fly 3 times. As it turns out, when Ginny was done, she had flown 72 times and covered like many miles of flight, and gone from like demonstration flight to all the way of like, it was flying around looking for stuff that then Perseverance would go and check out with its instruments and things. Right. It was actually doing science. So it was doing a really good job, and it proved a lot of concepts and way outperformed anything anybody expected. Eventually, the blade started to kind of shear a little bit and fray, and it was not safe to fly it anymore, so they landed it, and it's still downloading data. Very cool.
Yes.
Well, It was not just to try it out, right? Yes. NASA's got another plan here. This one's called the Dragonfly. It's going to go to Titan, which is one of Saturn's moons.
Yes.
Yep. Now, we've sent stuff to Titan before. In fact, I think the Titan lander sent back sound from Titan.
Yes, it definitely did. Yes.
And I remember hearing the sound from another planet.
It's very eerie.
Yeah, and it was really bad compression. It's just a whoa,
exactly.
whoa. It wasn't anything
Nothing crazy. Yeah, it's not like you're hearing echo. It was just a sound.
It wasn't like an Eminem track.
Yeah, but it was a sound that you couldn't really. I couldn't
tell what it was.
What I've ever heard anything like that.
It was wind. Yeah, apparently it doesn't matter. The fact that it was sound from off this planet,
crazy,
is crazy. And really remarkable. So now NASA's like, well, shit, we know how to fly on other planets.
Right.
And we know how to get to Titan.
Right.
Let's do it. So they're sending a helicopter, a $3.3 billion helicopter. It's going to launch in July of 2028. So you got a little bit of time. If you want to get a sticker on it or something, write to them. And it's going to go there. It's going to take a long time to get there. It won't get there till 2034. So you got 10 years or so to prepare.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. And recently NASA's been kind of hitting the streak. It's probably going to work.
I think, it's interesting where NASA's at I guess like right, I would say almost really like it's still a short lifespan of like what NASA has been like.
It's only been around since 1959.
Exactly. So like right, what we the first thing, a moonshot, like in a sense, right, is insane to do that, and then like obviously the shuttle, the space station. I think now moving into like the private, because I was always interested in what this looks like when you start bringing in like private companies. And that partnership with it almost seems like it allows them now to do more exploration of this sort.
Now NASA's doing like a lot more science, right? NASA always did science.
Exactly. But you get what I'm saying.
But it's not the like daring test pilots strapping themselves to the top of intercontinental ballistic missiles. It's like we're gonna go actually like put human shit on another planet and get some of their info and like maybe pick up some of their rocks and fly them home, which is happening on Mars.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Perseverance has collected samples that the next Mars mission will bring back here. We are going to have pieces of Mars on Earth.
Which is insane.
That's a crazy idea.
It's very, I mean, but I think the idea of like moon rocks that at that time, right?
Even still to this day
is
if you go down to air and space, you can touch a moon rock.
Yeah.
And that's an eerie feeling.
Yes. It's
like, this is not a real rock. You know, it feels like a rock. Yeah, I mean, you don't know the difference, but you're like, this rock isn't from here. Are you sure? And you're like, no, it's from the moon.
You want some Saturn facts?
Yeah.
All right. So the original S series models had 3 generations. The first design.
When did the Ion come out?
Exactly.
They started making plastic cars.
Yeah. No, but I know, all jokes aside, if it's going to Titan, right, that's the moon where they think there's water, like, or the ocean is, I forgot exactly what I've read.
Yeah, it's the most Earth-like of the moons. It's probably got liquid methane, I think is the thing. It's so instead of oceans, it's oceans of methane, not water.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
You want to beat Saudi Arabia, you get a whole planet full of natural gas.
I mean, right?
Hey, Qatar.
And we're doing okay with natural
what you
gas.
got?
Yeah, exactly. We get this. And
we're out pumping all of them.
Yeah.
Just in case anybody tells you drill, baby, drill, just to remind you that the United States is currently the single largest producer of oil in the world. We're outpacing Saudi, Russia, and everybody combined. We're also the leading producer of natural gas in the world. And we are a net energy exporter and have been since Obama.
Yeah. So, look at these dead ass birds.
Just so everybody, when they talk about Green New Deal, Joe Biden, just remember, we are drill, baby, drilling.
Yeah. It's a very interesting, if you
well, you know, if we had a Republican, we could have lower gas prices. Shut the fuck up. We're already pumping more gas than we need.
Yeah, exactly.
We're selling it to other people.
Yes, it's
fucking morons.
Not really probably the best thing for the environment, but I get why it needs to be done.
We need to win.
Yes, I get it. I know the whole idea.
Goddamn Chinese and their fucking. Anyway, so there you go. Space time.
Space time.
Okay, space time. Continue.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. All right. Why don't we take a break?
This man needs to button his shirt up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're gonna take We're gonna take a break while Tez composes himself.
Jesus.
And his fury
insane
over Roger Goodell. What are you so mad at his shirt for?
I just feel like it's just like you're the commissioner of the league.
It doesn't look dignified.
It does not look good.
He looks like a guy at a wedding at the end of the night.
Yeah, right. This is the for round 1.
Yeah. He looks well. You know, he's had a few.
What pick Rodeo 15?
It's
day 2. Look, man. It's been a lot. We've done you could sell it on day 2. On day 1, look at these kids dressed.
The kids are well dressed. You know, they've got nice suits. They look the part.
Yo, I'm sorry. Anyways, we need to take a break.
We're gonna take a break.
Take that shirt off.
We'll be right back.
Button it up. Do something.
You're listening to Chipchat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Swips.
sit, turn the page on the day, walk away. Cause there's sense in what I say. I'm 45th generation Roman, but I don't know them or care when I'm spitting. So return to your sitting position and listen, it's fitting. And I'm miles ahead and they chase me. Show your face on TV, then we'll see. You can't do half, my crew laughs at your rhubarb and custard verses. You rain down curses, but I'm waving your hearses driving by. Streets riding high with the beats in the sky. Balls stare, eyes glazed, garage burned down, the fire raged. For 40 days and in 40 ways. But through the blaze they see it fade. They see it black, the beaming heat on their faces. Then a figure emerges from the wastage, eyes transfixed with a piercing gaze. One hand clutching his sword, raised to the sky. They wonder how, they wonder why. The sky turns white, it all becomes clear. They felt lifted from their fears. They shed tears in the light after 6 dark years. Young bold soldiers, the fire burns, cracks and smoulders. 5 years older and wiser, the fires are burning on fire, never tire. Slay warriors in the forest and on higher. We sing, hear the strings rising. The war's over, the bells ring. Memories fading, soldiers slain. Looks like geezers raving. The hazy fog over the bull ring. The lazy ways the birds sing. A new baby's born every day. Few men may be scorned today, but look at things the other way, cause it may well be your final day. And then the crowds roar, they slay, they all say, I produce this using only my bare wit. Give me a jungle, a garage beat, and admit defeat.
All right, we're back. Welcome back to Chipchat here on Bellway Radio and Beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's popping out?
All right,
Who was that, Brian?
I'm trying to say. Oh, okay. It's Over Mono and the Streets, and the single's called "Turn the Page."
Okay, well, it was in British.
Yes.
Which
Streets.
Is, yeah. The mean streets, which Rishi Sunak knows so well, being the child of billionaires. Okay. Well, that brings us to our next segment, right? Which is the rundown, but it's a foreign edition.
Hey.
So I'm gonna see if let's see, what kind of accent should I whip?
I don't know. What should you even?
I don't have another.
This one here
Can
got
you-
a lot
you
of
wanna do-
H's.
You want to do? Yeah, well, you can do the accent, so you can tell everybody about what's going on. in the news.
My British accent is terrible, but
It's more authentic
I
than
can
mine.
try. Tory Bullshit is Tory Bullshit.
There you go.
London, Associated Press. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak latest effort to send some migrants to Rwanda finally won approval from Parliament early Tuesday, hours after he pledged deportation flights would begin in July.
I don't think they have after.
No,
Anything
sorry.
after.
After.
Yeah,
Again,
RP.
Americanized.
You got to do it in RP.
Right. Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Parliamentary logjam that has stalled the,
Oh,
the
wow.
legislation
No
for
way.
2 months. Was finally broken, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what happened.
Yes.
Tory bullshit is Tory bullshit.
Yeah.
For Americans, that means Republicans.
Yeah.
Okay, the Tories are the conservative party in Britain, and they really
That's your rights.
yeah. They just never miss an opportunity to like bash poor downtrodden people.
Yeah, since the 80s, they've been around. And also it's weird, right? Because it's still a country that relies heavily on the service of the government.
Yeah, okay. When we say they're the conservative party,
yeah, it's like
they would look like flaming liberals in this country.
Yes, yeah.
They love the NHS and they want the pensions and the price supports on all kinds of things, and they're very heavy-handed in the economy. And
where they dovetail well here is
yes, and just sort of general racism.
Yes,
and sort of colonialist white supremacy.
Yeah,
which is funny because their leader is a guy named Rishi Sunak, who is the child of Indian descent, right? But his parents were colonials. They were empire or whatever. They made a lot of money, so they get to pretend they're white.
Right.
Okay, but here's the thing: is that the Tories have been trying for years now to implement this plan where they're gonna stick with me because it sounds insane. Take people who migrate to Britain illegally, whether by boat or on a truck through the tunnel or just overstaying a visa or whatever, and pack them onto airplanes and fly them to Rwanda.
One of the, like the Arsenal kit,
which
Rwanda.
is a country in East Africa.
Yes.
So we're talking about like people who maybe got there from Syria.
Right.
Or like Poland.
Right.
Or a lot of places that are not Rwanda.
Right.
And they want to pack them into airplanes and fly them to Rwanda. Now, look, if you're thinking, well, what the hell would Rwanda want with all of these random ass people into their country? The answer is money. The Brits are going to pay Rwanda to like warehouse their unwanted refugees. Rwanda's, not the greatest.
There's been trying times in Rwanda.
Yeah, they had a genocide in living memory.
Yes.
It's pretty bad. Their current guy, Paul Kagame, is a bit of a dictator, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Been in charge for a little way too long.
Exhibits the behavior of a dictator.
Yeah, I mean, some things in Rwanda sort of work pretty well. Like they have a lot of women in parliament, for example. Congratulations. But like other things in Rwanda don't work well, like freedom of the press. So like,
weren't they? I could be confusing them with a different African country, but I also think there might have been some like if you were gay.
Well, it's Uganda.
Excuse me,
right across the border, though.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not great.
Yeah.
It's and it's certainly not a place where like if you're not from there, you can't just like pick up and go there.
Yeah.
It's not like Rwanda is well known for being the melting pot of Africa.
Right.
It's not like you show up on.
And these are a lot of people they want to send.
There's a lot of people, hundreds of thousands of people they want to send.
Which doesn't just when you do that anywhere, there's always some type of strife that occurs.
It's also very expensive. You got to fly them all there.
Yes.
And also, how it dovetails with the Republicans in this country, the cruelty is the point.
Yes.
The reason the Tories hit on this idea of mailing people to Rwanda is because it's supposed to suck. And the idea is if we can make it suck so bad to get caught here as a migrant, people will stop taking their chances and coming here. Nowhere on earth has a plan like that actually stopped people from coming. Because they're fleeing death.
Yes.
Right? There's nobody coming from Syria on vacation to go to Brighton.
If they terrible want to go to the bloody seaside.
Yeah.
The Rock Beach.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The Seagulls.
The Seagulls is that's interesting. Oh my God. Very sad day. The only thing that cheered me up was, Guinness.
Yeah.
That day. I'll never forget it rained when I went to Brighton.
It rains everywhere in Brighton.
Exactly.
There's nobody who is coming from Syria fleeing civil war.
Damascus, I swear they
100% of them would.
Yo,
it's like you should literally do not understand what refugees are. Rishi, Mr. Sunak,
and be careful as an island nation
of the Essex Sunaks.
Yeah.
What?
That doesn't make. He thinks he's English.
I bet he thinks he is.
You're not.
I'll
tell you that. Hopefully, you know the difference.
Their PM has gone brown. What are you doing, dude? And so as we mentioned before, there's gonna be an election soon. It's gonna have to be. Eventually, they're gonna have to call for an election, and Labor's gonna eat their lunch.
Yeah, I don't know what type of scandal could bring them down. There's no way. It should be night and day closed. Labor should win this.
Like the Tories have maintained power through Boris to what's her name?
Liz Truss?
No, the other one first.
Oh, hold on.
I forgot her name. She's still in. Theresa May. And then
that seems like a quaint time.
Yeah, her terrible job. Then there was the lettuce, and now there's Sunak, and somehow David Cameron is foreign secretary.
Yeah.
The guy who gave you Brexit. I don't know.
But what that shows you because
they've run out of people.
You couldn't allow Sunak can't go and have the foreign policy conversations, and
of course he can't. He's one of those foreigners.
And David Cameron he's
a proper Englishman.
That's a very crazy thing. That is, jeez.
Everybody can see it, right?
Yeah,
it's not like this is somehow we, the two Americans watching this from a distance, are like, hey, wait a minute. Everybody can see it. Yeah. So Labor is is chomping at the bit for an election. They're going to whoop their ass in every constituency they've got. It's all going to be over. So like the second that this makes it through Parliament, there'll be an election. It's going to get undone.
Yes.
Also, part of the reason this has been hung up previously is because all of the other things that Britain is a piece of, like the European courts and stuff, have said it's inhumane and illegal. And so now that he got it through Commons and it's going through Lords, not the criminal court, what is it? The European court of something or other was like, hey, we're gonna strike this down too. And Sunak's like, well, we'll just pull out of that. Like, just continue like the isolation. Yeah, it's not like, oh, well, I guess it is morally reprehensible. It's the solution is, well, you can't catch me if I'm not part of your stupid club. And then he's just going to leave that too.
Which is the only reason a lot of these, like Europe kind of, like the reason that they're kind of together, whether it's the EU or other things, is like, because England was very pressed to not have, they needed to show America like, hey, we're going to try to help after the war, like, be like, and we need you to stick around because, hey, it's still kind of scary over here. What just happened was insane. What has happened was insane. And to them to flip this now, specifically exiting the European Union and then things of this nature, it's kind of like they've almost forgot the history of why some of these
they're
things,
very intentionally forgetting their history.
And it's like, yo, this might not be the smartest thing to do.
The reason, just to be clear, the reason Europe knitted itself together into one like super country is because they kept having wars.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, if we're all like governmentally and economically tied together, we can't go to war with each other anymore. And the rest of Europe
seems to still understand
they
that.
all got that.
They're all in with like, that. Yo, hey, this is how Germany, they understand, hey, the way we can kind of stay from not tripping out again is we're part of this. Like France is like, cool, if we do this, then
France and Germany hate each other.
Yes, but
they hate each other's guts.
Yes.
But the second the war was over, they figured out the thing they got to do is tie themselves together in some way that they cannot go to war again, because they had fought like half a dozen wars in the last 50 years. Like, they got to stop.
Yeah, and the island nation sits over there, and they operate, again, they operate as if they're still the empire, and you're not that any longer. Like, and so you can have this isolationism here. I don't know, like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And those migrants can be put to work.
They need them.
Yes.
Okay, Europe's got a negative birth rate. The U.S. has almost a negative birth rate. Like, we talk about that.
The reason
our
economy is doing well now.
The reason we're beating Europe economically.
Because you can't stop them over here. We're bringing them in and we're letting them go to work.
We're letting them go to work and we're letting grandma retire. But over there in Britain, they want to make sure that grandma works forever. And, and they're not going to let any of those goddamn Polacks in. Well, I don't even understand what this is.
It's it's racism.
It's racism.
Right, if we get there. I mean, again, I always remember.
Rishi Sunak is engaged in racism.
I just always remember this English woman talking to her one time, and she this might have been 2014, maybe going 2015, and she was just like, no one's from England anymore. And I was like, geez, I know what that means. I get that.
No one's from England anymore.
Yeah, no one's from England anymore. I was like, oh, okay.
Where was Saka born?
Right.
London, I think. Yeah. Nobody's from England anymore. He missed those PKs, so he's not from England anymore.
You know how that goes.
You know what that meant.
Don't miss those PKs.
You know what they meant by that. All right. Skipping over to the other side of Europe, Ukraine.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as you may remember, Ukraine's in the middle of a war. They're running out of ammo.
Yeah.
Right? So they turn around and they're like, hey, man, we need some ammo. And, the U.S. was like, we got you.
Since when? Since November of last year we should have been talking about it?
Yeah. It's the end of the summer.
Yeah.
So it's like, we got you. We're going to send you some ammo. And then the Republicans were like, whoa, not so fast. We're on Russia's side now.
And everybody's like, what?
And and Eisenhower woke up from the dead and was like, hey, no. And Reagan was like, tear down what wall? Fucking angry. So anyway, the Putinists in Congress decided they were like, no, we're not going to have any money going to go to Ukraine, which let's all just remind everybody that when we say this is foreign aid going to Ukraine, what the money is going to stay here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember our beautiful contractors, our beautiful friends.
The defense industrial complex.
Yeah.
The military industrial complex is undefeated, right? So what's going to happen is the United States is going to appropriate money. They're going to pay it to the manufacturers of various weapon systems, and then which are American, and then they're going to take the weapons that they Raytheon up in this bitch. They're going to take the stuff that Raytheon made,
Boeing,
and we want it to work now.
Sorry.
All right, so they're going to take the stuff that Lockheed and Northrop and all these guys
can't forget them.
made, and they're going to give that to Ukraine. And they're going to shoot that at the Russians.
Yeah.
And then invariably, when they need more of it, guess what else is going to happen? More money is going to get appropriated and pour into American workers' pockets. Just to be clear, what military foreign aid looks like, it's money that goes to Americans to make weapons to give to the good guys.
And look, for all you deficit people out there, you talk this at, remember, when America is technically in the red, that means somebody else is in the black.
Yes.
And in this case here, the people that are in the black are these companies that are going to continue to funnel that money back in.
That's
to
$61
America.
billion.
It
goes back into the economy.
This is how we keep the money real.
This is how, right.
Everybody keep playing along, guys. Like, shit, don't stop playing now. All right?
All of that caveat aside, yeah, the war machine and all that stuff.
Sorry.
Okay, all that aside, so Congress was like, all right, we got a deal. We got a deal. And then the Senate was like, okay, well, we're pretty sure we got this deal. And all of a sudden the Republicans are like, no, we want border security tied to this thing.
Oh, you do?
Okay. So everybody's like, what? And they're like, no, it's got to be border security. And so then in the Senate, right, Cocaine Mitch was like, hey, Jim Langford, he goes, you go figure out how to make border security go with Ukraine funding.
I'll eat Mitch McConnell.
Like going on the cob. I'm ready.
So Langford goes and figures this out.
Yeah, he does.
It's a Herculean effort.
I thought, I was like, wow. Actual something that again could go to Biden, he could sign.
And he produced a piece of legislation that seemed like it really did make a lot of people happy and a lot of people angry, which is how you know it's good legislation.
Yeah.
And then everybody was ready to vote for it. And then
the bad phone.
Yeah. Right. Putin's number one P-tape.
The rat phone.
The rat phone. Well, real presidents have a red phone. His is orange.
His is orange.
The orange Diet Coke phone rings.
Clownfish.
And Trump tells all the Senate Republicans, don't vote for this because it's going to help the border. And I don't want to help the border. I want to run against the border.
How something like that, again, doesn't seal the election, I don't know. Because I don't think the American people, again, fuck the 30%.
Grab them by the pussy,
the 30%, but don't know it. But again, hey, no one cares about women in this country. If you didn't know, just letting you know.
They don't care about the border either. They want the vegetables picked and their lawns mowed.
They do, exactly. But I think the 30% of individuals who are not going to go ahead and vote, they're going to be with Trump, whatever, cool. I do think everybody who's kind of like, well, they can look at that and be like, yo, but like
add it to the list of like failure at a policy level on a grand scale.
Eventually the country will, some part of the country will want to govern things.
Well, yes.
Eventually.
And its name is Mike Johnson. Weirdly enough.
Very weird.
So after
what did he see?
Well, after the border thing, kind of falls apart, right? It gets back to the House. And the idea here is the reason that the Ukraine funding and the Israel funding and some of these things were tied together is because there's a lot of progressive Democrats that didn't want to vote for Israel funding,
right?
But they did want to vote for Ukraine. So you get them together. And then the same thing is that there's a lot of Republicans who didn't want to vote for Ukraine, but did want to vote for Israel. So if you tie them together, you get the votes, right? So that's the like
Taiwan.
standard, Taiwan and banning TikTok. Those are the other two. So that's like standard ledge behavior. But this is not what happens here. Maga Mike breaks this up into 4 bills
to make it digest,
so that people can vote against the thing they want to vote against, knowing that there's still probably majorities to get it to go. And he also does it in a way where he gets the rules votes to happen. And here's where that thing from the Post that I was going to tell you about, the votes go through. That's just like, let's be clear about that. Ukraine funding made it through 311.4, pretty good margin, right? Israel funding went through 380 something for Taiwan Taiwan and other East Asia stuff, the Philippines and some other things also made it through 350 some odd votes. And the TikTok thing also made it through 350 some odd votes. Okay. But there's this secret sauce in all of this.
Yeah.
At some point during this whole months-long negotiation, Biden called the leaders to the White House for a meeting, which is pretty normal stuff.
Yeah.
And normally what happens is you get, House Speaker and Minority Leader. So that's Jeffries and Maga Mike. And then, you got Senate Majority and Minority. So you got Schumer and Cocaine Mitch. Okay. And they get in the room. And then out pops William Burns, CIA director, and some other like defense guys. And they go, hey, we've got this presentation to show you. And they show Maga Mike how bad the situation in Ukraine really is and what the outcome of not getting them the support and the aid will look like.
Europe becomes very small.
Which is Russian tanks rolling into Berlin. And he goes,
again?
Yeah. Yeah. He goes, oh shit. I guess this is real. And he resolves over these, McConnell and those guys, they kind of They ambushed him in a way, right? And then Biden kept pulling him aside separately. And he kept talking to him and kept having these extra meetings with him and these things that they're all not really well reported out because they're not supposed to be.
Right, yeah.
But he keeps showing him the real truth here. And Johnson becomes convinced that this is a very serious national security threat, which it is.
Yes.
And so even when he goes to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring and stuff, he's carrying with him in his mind that I don't care what this guy says. If I don't get this money to Ukraine, we are all in huge trouble. And so he does real legislating. He makes the calls, he twists the arms, he makes he offers the committee appointments or whatever. He does the work of a speaker, and he's doing it with the help of the #1 legislator in the history of the United States, barring the guys whose names are on the building, Rayburn and Russell and all those guys, is Joe fucking Biden.
Yeah.
People forget that. He's always President Joe Biden. He's never not Senator Joe Biden of Delaware.
Yeah.
And he knows this stuff better than
anybody.
He knows
the institution better than anybody. He's been and people good on him for his age, but he's been around long enough that he's seen a decent amount, and he knows. And you could kind of Mike still. I think the gravitas of the position of Speaker of the House, what that means in the story of the whole from the beginning of all this stuff, the their founding documents. That means something different. And I also know, regardless of his meetings with Biden, once you're Speaker of the House, you're privy to different type of information.
You know more information. And all of a sudden, some of this stuff that you thought was kind of like a joke, you might find out this is not a joke.
Because I can only imagine some of the things you sit down and be like, and I wonder if that has taken hold, at least in this specific area, right? So and legacy I think he probably knows, number one, he won't continue to be Speaker of the House no matter what happens, in a sense, right?
Probably not.
No, probably not. Your legacy is going to be it's going to be a small box. It's going to be a small box, and God knows what else can happen throughout the rest of this year. But for this one, you'll be etched in for the rest of history of getting this through.
And if you didn't, you'd be etched in for the wrong reason. That's why it's about he did the right thing and the wrong thing. Because you could look back
and start tying things together, like, God forbid, again, the tanks roll into Berlin.
There's nobody talking about Neville Chamberlain like he ever did anything good. He probably did a lot of stuff good right up until he gave Hitler the Sudetenland.
Exactly.
You know, and that's the thing. So you don't want to be that. So what we're really seeing here is like an achievement of real legislation happening. Say what you want about Cocaine Mitch. He knows how to Senate, right? Sure. Schumer knows how to Senate.
I wish he would use his powers for good.
But he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
But he's like Voldemort. It's not like anybody thinks Voldemort isn't a good wizard.
Yeah.
Like he's good at magic.
Yeah, good magic.
He just uses it for the wrong shit.
Exactly.
Right? Like Vader has the Force. Nobody's like, well, that guy doesn't have any real skills. They go, well, no, Vader's got a lot of skills.
But it's bad.
Super Jedi. He's just bad Jedi. Okay, so like McConnell is Vader. That's fair. Yeah. But also, like Schumer knows what he's doing, and Joe Biden knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And Kamala was a senator too. Don't forget that.
King Jeffries knows.
And current Speaker Jeffries
knows the power he wields with a united front.
Well, and the key thing that Jeffries did was he told all the Dems to shut up.
Yeah.
And let these guys circular firing squad themselves.
We'll save at the last moment.
Well, yeah, I'll make the deals. Everybody just keep your mouth shut. Let them bash each other, 6 weeks from Sunday. Somewhere in this is an agreement to save Maga Mike if Marjorie pulls her shit.
Yeah.
Which is probably going to happen because she's going to, a couple minutes go by that people aren't talking about her. She's going to need to do something, right? So it's either that or like bring a gun back to the house.
Like they did McCarthy.
That's true because they don't know who he is.
He hasn't did it. And I find this very interesting. He's been able to do this, to not ever be in leadership, to kind of, again, he's like, I don't know what is his bona fides?
He has none. He has no idea how to do any of the speakering stuff.
This is a crazy thing to get pushed through.
He might have Boehner on the phone. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Somewhere.
You wonder, like, who's
somebody's helping him.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say puppet string. Look, these guys need mentors,
Yeah.
He needs help, and he can't get it from his porn app.
Yeah, I was.
So he needs to, he's got to
hold someone hold him accountable. Accountability partners.
So all of that's good.
Yes.
And then he goes up to Columbia University. Now, look, we're not going to get into the protests. That's all too complicated. Suffice it to say, it's fine if you want to camp out, sit in,
Children at universities been doing this for a long time. And there's a lot of shit in there that I look at and be like, you shouldn't, that there, you've like, again, crossed the line on it. But the whole concept of this, I don't think we can look like it's been happening for years around different causes, though.
It's fun. Look, if you want to block buildings or you want to take over quads or whatever, totally fine. Be ready for people to call you like entitled babies, trust fund, trustafarians or whatever.
I've watched a lot of them.
You've never really struggled at this. Malcolm Nance is really mad at these kids.
I've watched and Tom Nichols has a lot of choice words for these. You're trying to relive what your parents in the 60s.
So be ready. Be ready for all of that criticism, but all of that's fair.
Yeah, whatever.
That's all within bounds. What's not in bounds is violence, destruction of property, or threatening anybody.
Yeah.
So you can't just see a kid in a yarmulke and throw stuff at him. Yeah. No dice. You want to sit in and take over the quad and sit there and sing songs? That's fine. You want to chant stuff? That's fine. I don't even mind if you want to chant anti-Semitic bullshit. You can chant that too.
Free speech,
don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't throw anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't intimidate anybody.
Exactly.
And that's all good. But Maga Mike takes his ass up to New York, and
because it's a Republican friggin'
because it's an opportunity
photo op, which is very sick.
Yeah, showing up at Columbia of all places. Yeah. So he gets shouted at. Everybody's telling him, go home, get off campus. We don't want you here, whatever. That's not the story. The story is this weird interview he gives with NBC, Stephanie Gosk, and she goes, "What would you do if you were, in charge of Columbia University?" And he goes, "I would bring order to this chaos. I would immediately bring order to this chaos." And he says, "As Speaker of the House, I'm committed today that Congress will not be silent and blah, blah, blah. I'll bring order to this chaos." Says a guy who's Own caucus. Like, yeah, you're going to bring order to it the way you did to the House GOP? What are you doing, Mike? What are you...
And these kids aren't stupid. They know what the hell's going on as well, too. They're looking like this guy.
You look ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you're teeing up everybody like us. I'm not even going to bother with it. There's no reason to write the jokes.
No.
Right? Insert, he has no control over his own caucus joke here. Kimmel, run with it. Right. Have fun. I'm sure Myers and Fallon, all these, they're going to have a great time. Colbert, good. Go for it. We don't have to even do the joke. It's there. Y'all can see it, right? The guy can't control his own caucus, and he's going to go up there to Columbia and somehow, whip a little order on these angry 19-year-olds.
Yeah, good luck.
Maga Mike, buddy, pal. You can do one, and then you just got to not do the other.
Let Stefanik go up there and
let her be the idiot.
Yeah,
she was. I'm sure.
Of course, but yeah. I mean, this is her whole moment here. She's using it's insane.
So anyway, all right. So there you go. That's the foreign edition of the rundown.
Right.
That was a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
We're gonna take a break.
There we go. We need one.
We need a break. All right. We're gonna take a break. When we come back, it's gonna be even more crazy shit. Because we do. That's what we do on this show. If it was called Happy Fun Time, it'd be called Happy Fun Time, but it's not. It's called You Have to Be Sad Like We Are on Beltway Radio and Beyond.
Raining plastics.
Yeah. Oh shit. You're listening to Chipchat on Beltway Radio and Beyond. Swift.
The Democrats are a party of pedophiles. They support grooming children. Even Joe Biden, the president himself, supports children being sexualized and having transgender surgeries. Sexualizing children is what pedophiles do to children.
MTG, Maga's MVP. MTG, Maga's MVP. MTG, Maga's MVP. MTG, Maga's MVP. Democrats get back. Boom. Reporters even get slapped. They spreading all these rumors cause Marjorie be spitting big facts. Deep state and the left always hating. When they gonna let Joe about that basement? Marjorie, I really love what you do. Keep calling Ronald's out. No one does it better than you, huh? A real businesswoman, AOC's a featherweight. A Southern belle, a little hood. Watch her shake and bake. Divorce, that's all y'all gotta bring up. Yeah, watch her drain the swamp cause she know they corrupt. She's fighting for our children. She's fighting for our freedom. She's fighting for the Jan 6. She's fighting good versus evil. MTG, Maga's MVP. MTG, Maga's MVP. MTG, Maga's MVP. MTG, Maga's MVP. She's a boss. She don't rock with trans people cause they soft. Them liberal tears can't save you, wipe them off. You know we reppin' 45, he never lost. Watch a real Georgia peach go and set it off.
But I think what upsets me the most, Vinny, is the fact that everyone in Washington has known about the Biden crimes for a very long time, and they've done nothing about it. But yet regular Americans, they go to jail if they don't pay their taxes. They go to jail if they walk in the Capitol escorted by Capitol Police like Jacob Chansley did.
And we're not getting what humans always thought was key.
Yes.
And we're not getting what humans always thought was key, the bone broth. 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 Well, now it's the next level of that. It's caveman. But hey, I need a glass of caveman. Caveman. Man. It's better than Ovaltine. Better than Ovaltine. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Caveman is just over the top. What in the world? But now with the milk, I was like, whoa, this has milk in it. Whoa. It tastes like good. Man, this tastes so good. Tastes like the best milkshake ever. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. Like good. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. Like good. Whoa.
This is I can say without a doubt, at least in my experience, that this is literally.
This is a super home run available at InfoWarsLife.com, and it supports the broadcast. All right, all the big news straight ahead. Thanks, Buckley.
I don't even know what the last part was.
I don't know.
The third dimension.
All right. Well, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
The third of the frog.
Yeah. That's our buddy Alex.
God gracious.
He loves swallowing caveman.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Hey, yo.
The bone broth.
The bone
He
broth.
likes the
I
bone
bet.
broth,
I bet.
too.
Hey,
Yeah.
You know what? Whatever,
Hey, however you extract your bone broth is up to you.
whatever floats your boat.
Yeah.
This dick!
We know he likes
That's
floating
very
the
subtle.
Gay frogs!
Bust.
Oh, keep
All right,
more subtle.
So before we get into the next thing, speaking of the gay frogs,
Yeah.
there is this thing, it's Passover, right?
Yes.
And so there's the 10 plagues, right? And the second plague is frog. No, it's not frogs.
Frog.
It's just frog.
Okay.
It's the word Sfardea in Hebrew, which means frog. Not many frogs. That's Sfardaim.
Okay.
It's just frog. One frog. The plague was one frog.
One frog, we never know what to do. Depending on
Could
the
be
type
a
of frog.
giant frog.
Super poisonous.
Could be super poisonous. Could have had a knife.
Laser.
You never know. Yeah. So I encourage you to spend the next several weeks debating with your friends about what sort of plague frog singular was that nearly worked. First the river turned to blood, then this one frog showed up.
Look.
Might have been a gay frog.
Yeah. Oh, no. Don't let those
gay frogs. All right.
Okay.
Interesting little tangent. Okay. Back to our recurring segment, the Trump trials.
All right.
So, as you may know, the trial finally started, right? Up there in New York.
It did.
So, Donald Trump is on
There's
trial
the face.
for...
so many faces he's given now. The photos that come out of there every day are very...
Well, and the sketches.
Sketches even. Oh, God.
All right, so Donald Trump is busy falling asleep in court.
He can, and he's very... Was it Maggie Haberman who keeps reporting this?
Yeah, Haberman.
And she's very upset about this.
Maggot Hagerman, I think is what he called it.
Yo, God gracious. You're calling people maggots, yo. This is who you people are going to vote for.
Well, not that many people, apparently. Yeah. So here's the thing is, Trump, he's mad about stuff and he can't talk about too many of them. He keeps violating the gag order anyway. We're going to find out about that. They're looking at like 15 counts of contempt already. And every day
I heard the Secret Service has had a meeting about like what this could possibly look like.
Yes, because they have to figure it now. Look, if they can throw him, they can throw him in Rikers.
Yes.
They could do that. That is the thing. Secret Service is just going to have to figure that shit out. That's their job.
Damn it,
could also just lock him in a hotel room or something.
Exactly. That's very MBS. That's very MBS of him.
That did happen.
That did happen.
It was all of his brothers and cousins and stuff. Yeah.
You don't let him go to Rikers, because I don't know, man. It's just this whole, my folks and the affinity for Trump.
No, they can keep him in a separate place.
It's going to add to the story. Be like, no, but Trump went to Rikers, though. We got, like Rikers and checks. It's the story I keep hearing. And I'm like, oh, my God, I thought this was just fake polling. No, I heard family members over the weekend having some of these conversations. I was
okay. Just because you went from having Ben Carson and Kanye to now 7 black voters, that is a 500% increase, but it is not the same thing as Anyway,
say was black women.
Yeah.
Again,
please.
Sorry,
Doug Jones.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things is that he wants like massive turnout at the courthouse. And he's been calling for it. He's like, hey, I come, it'll be wild.
Which I think should be treated as intimidation.
I think so. But
if I asked based on other things he's asked for people to show up to, I'm just saying.
But the reality is nobody's showing up. Nobody's showing up. There's like a handful of people. There's far more media than there are Trump supporters out there. And so every time he looks out there, he goes outside and there's nobody there, he gets really mad about it.
Then when he gets mad, what he starts doing?
He starts going on fake Twitter and he starts
lying.
He starts lying. So he claimed that the reason there was nobody there was because that the police had set up all these barricades and stopping crowds. Thousands of people were turned away. Hold on, let me see if I can do it in the voice. Thousands of people were turned away from the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, a city ravaged by crime. Nobody likes it. And he didn't say that. In Lower Manhattan by steel stanchions, He had help. Not a chance he knows the word stanchion. Stanchion. Spelled correctly, too.
Spelled correctly, not station.
Yep. Yeah. In Lower Manhattan, by steel stanchions and police, literally blocks from the tiny side door, like my hands, tiny side door where I have to enter and leave. It is an armed camp to keep people away. None of that's true. None of it's true. As a matter of fact, George Conway
recently might have said he's going to vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah, he said he is.
I'm pretty sure I saw that, and I was like, wow, where have we've gotten to? Okay.
Yeah, well,
all
Kellyanne's not his, boss anymore. George Conway, the conservative attorney and vocal Trump critic, wrote on social media on Wednesday, quote, I took an Uber right to the front entrance of the courthouse yesterday morning. It was all very peaceful and orderly. The court officers and police officers are nice. And if you walk your dog down the street the two of you would outnumber the Trump supporters there.
What did he take to the, what did he say he took to the court?
He rode an Uber there.
You know what type of Uber he was in, right?
Black car?
But a specific one. You know which one?
Uber X?
A Lincoln.
Ah. Some sort of project.
Some sort of project.
Bell for that. That was awful. So, Trump doesn't have anybody there, and he claims it's because they're being kept away. That's not true.
No one's keeping what's keeping people away? These trials that people have been put on, and they've realized, hey, this isn't some type of game.
No, this is real.
Fucking around and following this guy, you end up in jail.
Yes. And
I think a decent amount of people is like, I might like him, don't like him that much.
Don't like him enough to go to jail for him.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's accused probably the NYPD of like stopping and frisking his fans.
As they do.
Yeah.
He did find time to go hang out with some construction workers or whatever.
Yeah, good photo op.
Yeah, and he told them that they're the best, but that he used to do 3 floors of concrete.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I was doing this,
when I was building, it was 3 floors of concrete a day. It's much faster than these guys.
My daddy never gave me anything.
Right? Yeah.
I do.
I know how to pour concrete. These guys don't know. Yeah. Whatever. Okay. Moving on. Arizona.
Crazy place.
Now, people who follow the show and know me know that I have a list. Right, of places, places where I don't spend money.
Yes.
Okay. And Arizona has been near the top of this list for a long time, all the way back to the SB 1070, where the show me your papers. Yeah. Okay. That put Arizona on the list. It has been struck down, but they never repealed it because they still want to do it. And if you wanna, that's just as bad as doing it. Arizona got off the list this week. They did enough good stuff in the space of a week to get off the list. There are very few places that have gotten off the list. I successfully defeated Papa John's, right? I boycotted them long enough that they fired Papa John and made Shaq their CEO or whatever. I did that. I successfully boycotted Prince William County long enough to send Corey Stewart back to Minnesota, and Danica Rome is now their senator. So I did that. That's great. And they've got, like a black woman as their chair of the supervisors and all that stuff. So congratulations to me on that one. And various others I've defeated through my boycotts. But Arizona, it's taking a long time. So here's what happened. Number one, an Arizona grand jury on Wednesday indicted 7 attorneys and aides affiliated with Donald Trump's presidential campaign, as well as 11 Arizona Republicans on felony charges related to their alleged efforts to subvert Joe Biden's victory in the state, according to an announcement made by the state attorney general. So it's the fake electors scheme, the same thing that happened in Georgia, the same thing that happened in Michigan, the same thing that happened in various other states. But here's the list of the actual, former Trumpistas who were indicted. See if you can notice who's missing. Okay. Mark Meadows, check. Rudy, check. Jenna Ellis, check. Eastman, check. Christina Bobb, that's a new one. She hasn't been on many of these other ones, but you may remember her as one of the other bad lawyers. Top campaign advisor Boris Epstein, and former campaign aide Mike Roman. Who's not on that list? Who was definitely on all of the other lists?
Not Bannon.
No. Although he does factor.
Yeah, this is election
He's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer. No, you said Rudy's on there.
Yeah. I'll give you a hint. He's in the Cloud City Bird Gang universe.
He's in the. Oh, hold up.
We have a little figure of him.
Why am I blanking on this right now? And I don't.
Kenneth.
Oh, wait, Kenneth. Why am I'm blanking? This is terrible.
Cheese Bro.
Oh, Cheese Bro. Oh
the
my
Cheese
God.
Bro.
Oh.
The Cheese Bro is not on the list.
So he's snitching.
Yes, that's exactly right.
He's
the
snitching.
Reason he's not on the list is because he's the one giving it up.
Cheese Bro said, I'm playing chess now.
Yeah. So he already pled out in Georgia.
Yeah.
And now he's state's evidence. And he's willing to show everybody everything.
He's about to make his tour. Where else is he going to do? Where else we got up? Was it Michigan? No.
Well, he's already. So it's the fourth state after Michigan, Georgia, and Nevada all already saw charges against these fake electors. There's something like 11 states where this happened.
Yeah, I was going to say it's more, right?
So, a lot of stuff happened in regards to this, but these guys are all being charged with like serious crimes here, forgery and all kinds of other stuff. And the question is, why did it take so long? The indictments cap a year-long investigation by Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays. Now, she's the Attorney General, right? Hobbs is the governor. They've got all the Democrats elected statewide. Carrie Lake, is not in government. She's trying to run for the Senate seat against Gallego. Sinema's out, thank God. Yes. It's a whole thing. Meadows, though, sort of looks particularly in trouble.
I mean, in many places.
In many places, because he was the one sort of running point in the White House on all of this. And he's the one who's taking the information in from the lawyers and getting it to the Trump people and trying to get it to White House counsel and all that stuff, who smartly were not listening to him. And then, and he's the connection to Ginny Thomas and all that kind of stuff. So let's see. In releasing the indictment, May's office redacted the names of all the individuals outside of Arizona who were charged, but the Washington Post was able to identify all of them through the accounts of their alleged actions described in the indictment. Yeah. George Terwilliger, great name. A lawyer representing Mark Meadows said he's not yet seen the indictment. Quote, if Mr. Meadows is named in the indictment is blatantly political and politicized accusation will be contested and defeated.
You're down to the Terwilligers, then there's not a lot of lawyers out
there. Yeah, you're
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really see. That's not really the Terwilligers, and usually not the names. I see strong people are going to win your case. Terwilliger?
Yeah. George Terwilliger.
George Terwilliger? Nah, not the lawyer I want.
Well, famously, cousin of Sideshow Bob Terwilliger. Was famously defeated in the case of Rake v. Face. That's a really good Simpsons.
That's a really good Simpsons.
All right. Anyway, Epstein declined to comment. Bob Hoffman Bauer, spokesman for Rudy and Roman Eastman, none of them commented. Why?
Smart.
Yeah, because the answer is I did it. I mean, they're all dead to right. Yeah. They all wrote the briefs.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like they filed the paperwork. Their names are all over everything. They did it.
It's interesting they thought this was going to work.
Do you think any of them thought it was going to work?
It's weird to not. Maybe they were just caught up in the lie. I don't know, because I assume these individuals understand how the law works.
Yeah.
I think they know.
I mean, you and I do, and we're not lawyers.
I assume you think that, hey, I know this isn't the case, but if we could swing it, who cares? Because
it'll work. If we get him in, it's fine, right? Yeah. It'll all be worth it.
If it doesn't work, and the system stays intact, the system is going to system.
Yeah, it's going to strike back.
It always does this. Especially when you're trying to dismantle it. People within the system are going to go ahead and be like, well, now we're going to bring all there are laws.
Yeah. We wrote laws against doing this in case you idiots tried anything. We didn't think we'd ever have to use them. I mean, they're kind of dusty. We haven't had to brush them off in a while. But shit, go ahead and get the books out, guys, and throw them at Rudy.
I don't know. I really am confused again, they had to be caught up in the lie itself, and to the point where
That's one of the things that like
it has to be.
Jenna Ellis kind of like said in some of the comments that she's made. She's like, look, I was, I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was following along with like I trusted these other people who had more legal experience than me, and they told me this was legit, so I just believed them.
Now, John Eastman, I think these people saw. I think some of him specifically saw. He
knew it wasn't going to work, but he was hoping he could try to pull it off.
Could be, then you're kind of in like almost like the apparatus of power.
Yes,
it's like. Only God knows what you're able to do at that point.
Yeah, because then you made this shit up and it worked. You may as well make up some more shit.
Keep making stuff up and
you got Ginny's husband on the bench to help you.
Exactly.
Like it's all there. All right, Arizona part 2. So the Arizona House of Representatives voted Wednesday. The Senate's going to vote on this, I think maybe tomorrow, to overturn the state's 160-year-old abortion ban, setting the stage for a repeal that would leave the state's 15-week restriction in place. Now, 15 weeks is still
insane.
It should not be 15. It should be viability, but that's better than none.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where, like, here they are. They caught the car. They don't know what to do about it. We keep having this conversation that the abortion issue does not play well for them in the polls, and so poorly that 3 Republicans voted with all 29 Democrats to advance the legislation. But there were like 20 some odd that voted against it. You want to know, like, they all looked around and they go, well, this is going to definitely cost us every possible election. Also, this law was written in 1864. Also, it says you got to kill all the women. Yeah, I'm going to vote for that.
But, quote from Rachel Jones, life is one of the tenets of our Republican platform.
Yes.
To see people go back on that value is egregious to me, end quote. Life,
not of the mother, though.
No.
Also, just Republicans, just so you understand, that if you have a pregnant woman whose health is at risk and she dies, the baby is going to die too. So you don't get to
lose the person who's able to produce more babies.
Yeah, the party of life.
It doesn't really make sense.
Just
I don't. This is why again
the dumb argument in the court
to lose. There's no way every time we say stories after stories every week on here. And as I know 2016 fooled us all, but again, this country is misogynistic at a very high level. Old man Biden is very palatable to a lot of people in this country, and when you're doing shit like this. You drive people out to the polls for this. They see his name there, they're gonna check it off, and
have to.
Because again, there are Supreme Court justices on the line. I understand. Like, I know if you hate politics, right? I get it. But the way, like, if you hate politics, the solution isn't to say, I ain't not playing the game. I swear to God, that's not the solution.
You can't do that.
You can't do that. And again, in states that matter, because I hate to say that as well too, like, you need to go out and vote in high numbers. And maybe you don't, God, I hope you vote for the president, but I do hope you look at the rest of that ballot and try to vote for things that can affect you even more specifically locally in the areas that you are. Because there are a lot of shit that goes on these ballots that 14%, 15%, like some of these smaller issues end up dictating.
So speaking of which, a good example is Idaho.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was a Supreme Court hearing this week about abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There is a federal law called EMTALA, which basically says that any hospital that gets federal funding, that's Medicare, Medicaid, and various other things, has a duty to stabilize anybody who comes in the door. You can't turn them away for lack of insurance or payment or anything like that. And you don't have to maybe like get them all healed, but you got to get them stable.
Yeah, they shouldn't die.
They can't die on the hospital steps.
Or turned away.
Right, no matter what Rand Paul says. So EMTALA is run up against Idaho, where they banned abortion all the way. And so the question is, like, if you've got somebody who is suffering from a complication, that the medical solution to this is to abort the pregnancy.
Yeah, which is a medical
solution to a lot of things.
Yes.
right? Can Idaho as a state ban doctors from performing that? And if they do, would it violate EMTALA?
Yeah. Can they still receive federal funding? Can the federal government withhold funding from them?
So I think a plain reading of this is, yeah.
Right.
So it got to the court, and there are 4 women on the court, which is a lot compared to how it's usually been. It's almost parody.
Right.
But the guy arguing for Idaho to be allowed to deny medical treatment to women,
to kill women,
was up against the Solicitor General, who is a woman, and the rest of the bench, including Coney Barrett.
Yes.
Here's the thing you need to know about Amy Coney Barrett. She's got 7 children and has had several miscarriages.
Yeah.
Some of the things that she had to go through with those miscarriages would be banned by what happened by Idaho's law. And so she would not be able to receive that care in Idaho were she there, and several other states that are all, sort of got these same trigger laws. Did she have an abortion? Depends how you count to that. Right. Yeah, I don't know. But the type of medical care that she needed to preserve her health and her fertility,
big piece, life,
were things that would be banned by Idaho's rules. So while this man desperately tried to explain to women how ectopic pregnancies work, they were incredulous. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Flip-flopping between, like, if there was, like, at first it was like, well, no, it would, certain procedures would be covered, but then he was saying that it wouldn't be. It's a terrible argument.
Kagan noted that transfer is the appropriate standard of care in Idaho, since apparently they're not allowed to care for anybody. So the standard of care is a helicopter ride.
All right, get him out of here.
At one point, Coney Barrett expressed frustration with Idaho's attorney, suggesting that he was, quote, hedging, when he asserted that state law allows doctors to use their medical judgment in, quote, good faith to determine whether life-saving abortion is permitted. Barrett suggested that Idaho's attorneys answer Sotomayor's hypotheticals, which were about whether state law would allow an abortion to address certain threatening conditions short of death. She says, I'm kind of shocked, actually, because I thought your own expert said below that these kinds of cases were covered, and now you're saying they're not. And the guy's like, yeah, I don't know. Sotomayor asked this question about, like, well, what if somebody's diabetic and you're like ethically opposed to treating diabetic people? Like, could you
hate insulin?
Yeah. Could you deny them care? And he was like, well, no. And she's like, so what's the difference? And he's like, well, I don't know how medicine works because I'm a dummy. And then there was also this question of, like, Alito had to get in on this.
Yeah.
And he had to ask something really stupid. So he goes, you're talking about protecting the health of the pregnant person. What if their mental health is at risk? Does that mean they get to have an abortion? And Prologer, the Solicitor General, was like, no, fucking idiot. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about emergency medical treatment. He then later went on to say, we've all spent all this time talking about all these women who are going to die. Has anybody said anything about all the babies that are going to die?
What?
No, and
there's no babies.
It's like,
there's no babies dying.
No. Also, if the vessel, which is what they think women are, dies or is medically, damaged in some way, so is the fetus. Like, you gotta... you can't be like, well, I don't want to fix the hole in this boat while we're out in the middle of the ocean because there's somebody I don't like on the boat. We're like, well, you're on the boat too, right? And you're like, well, yeah. And we're like, well, look, I think you need to fix the boat so you can get to shore and get rid of the guy you don't like.
Doesn't make any sense.
What are we talking about here? And it was just really shocking to listen to and kind of gross, to be honest. All right, you want to take a break or you want to go right into Tez Talk?
Let's go straight in.
Okay. Brian wants to get out of it. We're kind of on time.
Yeah, no, kind of.
We're doing pretty good. All right, what's up for our Tez Talk?
You know what? We're just going straight into the kits that we have on.
That's it. Soccer Talk.
Soccer Talk. Thank you. That's what we'll start with. You know what?
You're welcome. We did it for you.
I'm very happy that Everton went ahead and disposed of Liverpool
2-0.
2-0. Yeah,
and one of those goals was Calvert-Lewin totally unmarked on a nice cross from Dwight McNeil. I mean,
very thankful.
Beautiful goal.
Brighton can do the same today against Manchester City, but it's okay. Right. The end of this, we play you guys. God, you guys can play spoiler. I think we play you.
We could cause you a little grief.
You're the last match of the season. No,
the Chipchat Derby.
Chipchat Derby, last match of the season. I don't know. I'm very excited. Obviously, we had unceremonious exit of the Champions League, but it's Byron. Whatever. I get it. You're Byron. They're
gonna win.
They're gonna win. Real Madrid, I think so.
Maybe.
But Byron could easily.
Munich is definitely in contention. Yes.
Of that. I have hope that Arsenal can pull this off. You guys you've helped tremendously. Manchester City still has a game in hand, though, so there's not really. We have to win out, obviously, but the fate is really in Manchester City's hand, and they look really good.
City's got, they're stacked. They got through their injuries at the right time, so they've got everybody's healthy. Everybody's looking really good. They're a very deep team full of really talented players. They also have 150 financial violations self-reported. Funny how they have all their points, though. Funny that. Premier League.
Also, too, baseball, I think, is really exciting right now.
It is very exciting right now, especially Gunnar went 4 for 4 yesterday.
Yes.
Orioles cannot stop winning, which is great.
Yeah, really
and let's see. I think Means is coming back, this week or next week?
Likelihood this week.
Yeah, so, pitching's going to get even stronger.
But there's a problem.
There's a problem. Is Holiday got brought up a little too early?
No, that's not about Holiday. It's our favorite thing here is the umpiring.
Oh,
it is shit.
Well, there's a particular umpire that everybody hates.
What's the name?
Angel Hernandez.
Yeah. He's very bad.
But
he's very bad. He cannot call a strike to save his life.
But to me, it's gotten far worse. I've seen like a couple of games where the strike zone is so ridiculous. It's like pretty much the umpires just want to go home as quickly as possible.
Yeah, they've got a dinner reservation.
Yeah, it's. I mean, literally, there's fights.
Yeah, he's Cuban.
Is he?
Yeah.
Good call. Nice pull.
Yeah, it's like I'm pretty sure I was like a
cousin of yours.
Plague.
Yeah.
Plague on the game.
So yeah, I just think I don't know. Everybody's been crying for the electronic umpires.
Nope.
No, honestly, I think this is whatever these umpires are calling, it's kind of giving a plus for the electronic.
Yeah,
umpires.
it's definitely helping that.
You
case.
Look at that. You look at the strike zone box that's on TV, and some of these.
It's like I've seen balls that are way outside, low and outside, and you're calling a strike, and everybody's like, "What are you looking at?" It is like
and the tracking and stuff, the cameras that they can see, and even if the league isn't like sanctioning them or whatever, the broadcasters all have them, and they're watching that, and they can show you where it crossed the plate, where it didn't cross the plate,
and they're calling this shit out too. There's not like they're like
the announcers are being pretty obvious about it, too. Especially on the national broadcast on those games where they're not the homers, they don't have to protect the team or anything.
Some of it's. Their calls against the Orioles or calls for the Orioles, and I kind of figured it's like, okay, either you're trying to balance this out, or it's like this is really bad. You guys, I mean, it's. Go ahead.
Keep the ump out there. Have someone say it in his ear and let him still do everything. Keep him out there.
Yeah.
Keep his ass out there and have someone just tell him it, because you can still have the pop and circumstance of how they make the call, right? I don't think they should be removed from the field. Obviously, you can't have them removed from the field.
They're just like a puppet or something.
But you kind of still need them there to I don't think we should get to the point where calling them safe and I think that
you need them out there to call safe and out and all that stuff.
But I think you could easily
somebody steps out of the box or whatever.
Secaucus could stay in the ear of them and call those immediately on there. Goes through. Might be even a slight pause. You add a little suspense to it as well too. A half second on there. Strike, all right?
I mean,
the strike out, if you're waiting for Secaucus just to give it to you, little suspense.
And then
I'm telling you, the shit could work. You could play this right.
I don't think I
don't want their jobs to go away. They're not going to go away. But
I am very torn between this sort of, this isn't baseball by having like a machine call balls and strikes. That feels unbaseball to me. But I am also, I don't know if it's more pronounced now or if it's just simply easier to see because of the way the technology can track this and show it to you in real time, like how far off these guys. Because if you watched baseball in the 80s and 90s and stuff, right? You saw this, you're like, that's a terrible call. What are you doing, Blue? Like, this is terrible. You know, you missed it. And you're like, you can tell everybody, but unless you videotaped it and showed it, there's no way. Now, every pitch can be shown from every possible angle. They can fly the camera along with the ball and show you where it is as it crosses the plate. I
also,
don't know.
the reason you got to move to it is because of the betting.
You
gotta move to it because of that. Because again, with the betting at this point, right? Obviously, integrity of the game and making sure people aren't like. Obviously, we've seen the NBA
integrity. Yeah,
you
right.
Can't
I was gonna say Porter.
You can't have that piece, right? And people will be thrown out of the game.
Don't Ohtani this for everybody.
Yeah, right. And guess what? Y'all ain't Ohtani, so no one's covering for you. There's reckless speculation on that. Obviously, actually, no. Some of the reporting on that I've seen on that even's got me like, oh wait, this. As much as I don't want to believe it, I'm like, oh, the reporting seems like, yo, his interpreter was on some other shit.
Was taking him for a ride.
Yo, all right. So like, all right, maybe Ohtani's off the hook on that one. But regardless, if you have betting so pronounced, if DraftKings are sponsors now, right, you need to get this shit right. Like it has to be right. Because again, the customer is now involved in the game in a different way. Their money's involved, right, in a way that
is it the same thing as like the goal line stuff?
I believe so.
Yes, I've seen that video where that ball in the proper football.
Yes.
Where I saw a goal being disallowed because the ball went clearly over the line, but somehow video replay shows the ball going over, but the umpire and everybody else says nope.
I mean, even in the case of having VAR in Premier and everywhere else, like they still got it wrong. I'll be honest, our game against Forest, they went to the VAR on a couple of those questionable calls. They should have awarded a penalty at least on the third one, and they didn't. And Forest went and slammed the league for it. They said they had a Luton fan running the VAR, and that guy can't be trusted, and blah blah blah. There's still room for human corruption. So if the argument of keeping umpires in is that there should still be a human element. There's still a human element somewhere, but I don't know, man. The balls and strikes thing, it just doesn't feel right to me.
But the computer's going to call it correctly every time.
I understand that, but it doesn't feel baseball. There should be some gray area.
The wild card.
It doesn't. The wild card still doesn't feel baseball. I don't like it.
Oh, God. This is what I mean. Now, look. We got a DH across everything now.
Yes.
It doesn't. Look, the game is, again, we're going to look back at Manfred and be like, he saved baseball, which he's been bad at a lot of other shit.
Yeah, he's been bad at a lot of things.
A lot of things. But we will look back and be like, he saved baseball. If he finds a way to push through
electronic balls and
strikes, again, we'll look back and be like, yo,
what do they call this? What are they going to call the system?
Strike-com.
No, you got to come up with something that spells out ump.
Ump?
Yeah, so it's like a unified magical whatever something. It's got to spell ump. The ump system called him out. The ump called him out.
The ump called him out. Interesting.
It's got to come up with that. Somebody smarter than us can write that.
Yeah, write that like of what that is on there. But it has to go there. The betting is too big. You can't have this shit called by some old men behind the fucking plate. And depending on how the fucking catcher fucking frames up the fucking
but that's a whole part of the game.
Yeah. Look, it is part of that, but the cameras have started snitching.
Well, fuck those cameras.
I mean, in baseball.
Snitches. Speaking of things that Brian hates.
The story.
Okay, so there was several stories this week. So here's the deal. There's a company called Throne Labs. They have made these very nice, let's not call them portable, but like easily movable, installable public toilets. And they're sort of they have a app control that you have to have like a username and a password, and you can scan your phone to get into them or whatever. But the idea is that they're supposed to be accessible in places where there aren't public toilets. People already don't like public facilities in a lot of places. They think they're not well maintained and not clean. They're not safe, whatever. And I get all of that, right? Yeah. Especially if you got kids and you're out and about, knowing where there's a bathroom is critical.
Yes. Yeah.
Got to know that, right? So they're putting these all around the city. This all seems like a good idea to me.
Like
it seems safe. It seems like they've mostly solved all of the, hey, what about questions? It all seems good. So what I'm curious to find out is why old man Brian is going to tell me that these things are awful and the kids should pay for their subways or whatever the fuck.
Okay, one.
Knew it was going to work.
But work what? I mean, I have no problem with this.
Oh, you like them?
They look fine to me.
This is no fun. All right, skip this bit.
All right. Hey,
Brian's on that.
I was like, hey, what's
this
wrong
doesn't
with
work. No, I was sure because it was nice and publicly beneficial, you would hate it, but
no, it works.
Okay.
We need more bathrooms because people, can't keep going to a restaurant. They have to pay for something so they can pee. It makes it ridiculous.
All right, so Brian Reagan has come back around.
The app piece kind of throws me a little bit. I feel like there should just be open public bathrooms, but
the idea is to keep people from fucking them up.
Exactly. I just feel like
somehow they got to be maintained some form of fashion.
Right.
So, people gotta
fuck them up. I mean, that's
if you do it enough, you can apparently get banned.
Oh.
So if your username keeps showing up on reports right before there's a biohazard alert, then they're gonna ban you.
I also
gotta go pee on a tree.
There's another Supreme Court case that we didn't even have time to talk about, but we know where homelessness is in this country, and a lot of people who are even homeless are working homeless, so they could easily have a phone,
right. So they have access.
That was, I think, through it there, kind of okay, that makes sense, because I do think a majority of people who are just trying to use the bathroom, no matter what their circumstance is, isn't trying to fuck it up.
No, of course not. But the question, the question is and even if they're not trying to, they might.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
That's how it goes sometimes.
It's a bathroom.
Yeah, right? So, stuff happens, as they say.
As they say.
Speaking of stuff happening.
Oh, yes.
Former USC great.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Insane. I'll never
former New Orleans great and a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
So, Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush was, it was unbelievable in college, right?
Yeah.
Guy was splitting defenses like they weren't even there, and goes on to an illustrious career in the NFL, and now he's on TV as an analyst. He's pretty good at it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I like his college stuff that he covers. Reggie knows what's up, right? But he did get busted, and they took his Heisman away in 2010. What did they take it away for?
For NIL.
Basically for NIL. So what happened was Reggie got paid.
Yeah.
Not even a lot of money.
No.
A really small amount of money to sign things and do appearances and whatever. And it's it seemed pretty low grade at the time, to be honest. Why are you taking this away from him?
But again, to keep up the charades, you almost had to come down heavy on anybody you found doing this.
It's not like where Tressel was running this whole scam of tattoos for jerseys and stuff, where he was clearly pimping out the Ohio's team for like personal benefits and all this stuff. This was a college student who wasn't making any money, who was helping USC make a shit ton of money, trying to get enough like money to buy a sandwich. And they came down on him hard. And then the league, you know, several years later, we've got NIL and we've got betting in college sports.
What are we doing?
So there's so much money in this. Even the NCAA was like, all right, if we're going to be doing this, we can't be doing, you know, taking Reggie's trophy away. So they gave it back.
Good.
Who knew they had it like sitting in storage too? They gave him back his, and they gave the replica back to USC, and he gets to have his
Didn't
thing
they
back.
vacate the wins that year too?
They vacated a bunch of his wins. I'm pretty sure that's going to all get back.
Which is always so dumb. Like the wins didn't happen. I struck the wins down. Y'all take your banner. They won.
Well, it's how Michigan is.
Oh yeah,
is the 2013 men's basketball national champions.
Oh God, no.
Because we played in a final against Kentucky.
No.
And we lost.
Yes.
But then Kentucky had all their wins vacated. So we did. Who won that game?
No.
We did not win that game.
Yes, you lost the game.
There
were more points scored by Kentucky than there were.
No, they weren't. The win was taken away.
That's not possible.
That is possible. That is exactly what happened.
Possible.
So we didn't score the most points that day,
but you won the game.
But the team that did score the most the team that scored the most points didn't win that game either.
That's not true. They did.
They did
by
not.
nature of scoring more points in competition, they won. No matter what body says that they did.
Not according to the governing body of that sport. Wins have been. Listen, if they vacated all of city's wins,
I would not do that.
You would take it.
We did not win. Oh, it's asterisk. It's just asterisk.
No fun. All right. Our last story is this one is called Florida for Sure. Okay. I'm just gonna read it. The Florida alligator found an inconvenient place for a nap beneath an Air Force plane. Yeah, you know, because that's how nature works. On April 22nd, the reptile snuck onto the tarmac at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa. Who knew there was an Air Force Base in Tampa?
Oh.
I don't feel like they should have access to the Air Force.
DeSantis might go.
Yeah. It was caught on camera snoozing by the wheels of an airplane. In one image, the animal relaxes next to the wheels of an aircraft. In another, it appears cozily nestled between two sets of plane tires, prompting a slew of hilarious social media comments. I don't know if Brian's got the images of said alligator.
No.
He doesn't care. Several joked that the lazing creature was the perfect candidate to guard the aircraft, writing things like, quote, ramp security Florida style. So that's pretty good. I thought birds were the problem. It didn't. I said chuck the wheels, not crock the wheels. It's pretty good. So, like, you know, it's just like the maximum Florida story, right?
Yeah.
Like alligator messed up the Air Force somehow. They did capture it.
Good. I mean, hopefully after finish sunbathing.
Yeah, they went out and did the, you know, I don't know if you know this about Florida, but there's every county has like alligator wranglers.
Yeah.
That's like a job in Florida.
Economy.
Yeah, and so, you know, they went out there and did the thing where they put the towel on his head and like clamped his mouth shut, and then they got a rope and to put it around his tail and dragged him out of there. And then, you know, the plane was on its way. But like, I think this gator has a future. I think he can run for office. Yeah, right. It's qualified for the ground crew.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, knows how to check the landing gear.
Yeah, he knows that. Yeah, look. Goes down.
Yeah.
Scales up.
Scales up. Get your bell for that. That's bad.
That's so bad. That's all I have today. That's all I ever have.
Governor DeSantis better watch out.
Yeah.
This alligator's running against him. He's going to win.
Gators is headed to Tallahassee.
Careful how you say that.
It's all right. Yeah.
He was causing fighting words
across
conferences now.
All
All right, so you hear the music, which means we've come to the end of the show. So we need to say thank you to our radio partners, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google. Those are all real, by the way. I didn't make any of those.
Yay! Real radio.
Thanks to NOTN for existing, maybe. We're not sure. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, CopleyMedia.com. And thanks, as always, to our family here at Beltway Radio for making us sound as smooth as Liverpool's week. All right,
Thank you, Everton.
Yeah. Where can everybody get you on the socials?
You can find me on Instagram at Catching Cordy. You can find me on X at DC Cortez. And you can find me being a flaming liberal on Blue Sky at DC Cortez.
All right. You can find me and the show on the Twitter at ChipChatRR. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram at RipChipChat. And you can, of course, find us every Thursday night here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm Chip. That says, that's Brian. You've been listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
We go home early. Sweeps.
And we're your host. I hope you enjoy what we promote. Chip Chat Radio. We got so much, so give you the news in case you didn't know. Keep the public well informed of the topic. Sometimes the news today is hard to process. That's why Chip and Ted